There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits, or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.
And let's get right into it. Great question here. Do we only have AP Live for GearBox on Fridays now, not Thursdays? We haven't ran the Thursday in a long time, just because intraday mode is not a good mode to be using at all during these types of market conditions with the Ukraine war and what's been going on. So we have not been playing with that at all. We've been kind of avoiding intraday. It's very advanced mode, something you don't teach your average customer. It's kind of like a hidden thing. It should be more hidden than it is here. I should really put it at the bottom, because these are the stars. Maybe I should even just have recommended modes here. And even then, swing is still crazy during these market conditions. We're taking a look at how our pairs went this week. GBP CHF sure got close to finally taking its first trade, but it did not. NZD CAD did not, is not doing too hot. It's in about 15% drawdown. Nothing too crazy though. If we keep going on, taking a look here at AUD NZD, you can ignore this. This is me just playing around with the little indicator thing. We are in about 15% drawdown on this little $500 data account. This is actually $869 data account now, so about 15% drawdown just on one currency pair here on AUD NZD. AUD CHF, as we can see, is doing nothing at all. It seems like it's actually frozen. It's in a trade 1 and 1, -1 and 1's 1. AUD JPY sure got close to a trade. As we know, JPY pairs are you shouldn't use JPY pairs with GearBox. They can make you a bunch of money every once in a while. Like USD JPY just popped up 2%, but every other once in a while they're railing stop losses and things. You can see we've hit. Oh, that was back in AUD USD. I actually started this USD JPY account recently. This was something that started end of 2021, and it's taken a few trades. Nothing crazy on USD JPY. You can ignore the loss here. This was from a different testing account. This 500 actually is up about $90 in just USD JPY. Need to connect an FX book on that account. But regardless, the JPY pairs, you should really avoid them, especially like AUD JPY or some of the ones that can trend a little harder. USD JPY is not the worst. Neither is Euro JPY, but they definitely still trend just as hard as some of the others. This is a demo account. I'll ignore that. Continue on. AUD USD, currently not in any trades. USD CHF seems to be on a terror run. Many of you might have seen that on this little $500 account. We are experiencing a 33% on this, and we have had balance protection hit since 25% and going. Looking at CAD CHF, we have no open trades. CHF JPY, this account was toasted a long time ago. As we can see, it got toasted, then actually made a little bit of money back, and then lost it all in margin called. But yeah, this account got toasted out on some CHF JPY trades, and that's again why CHF JPY went into the non-recommended pair list. Going at CAD JPY, same thing. It looks as if this account hit some stop losses. Yes, it did. and is down some money. So again, the JPY pairs we have been trying to avoid as much of those as we can. Euro USD, we can see we're up 1.28% actually on the week. Moving into Euro CHF, we're seeing no action here on this pair. Euro CAD, we got about 17% running on this data account. We can also see Euro CAD was moved to a worse performer. Why? Well, it's making some profit now, but if we go back in time, I don't want to do all history because I don't know what else is on this account. Lots of things. Gold, yeah, some manual trading for me back in the day probably or something. Yeah, I don't need to see all this stuff. Let's just get to EuroCAD. There they are. Some stop losses hit on EuroCAD back in September 2021, which is when we first talked about removing EuroCAD, but even right now it's only in 17% drawdown. We've increased entries on many of these pairs in the latest updates of the manager, and we're going to be continuing to make a lot of updates coming here soon. I'm going to be showing you some of them. Euro JPY, we are in no active trades on these data accounts, but this you can see has already been toasted and must have happened recently. In March, Euro JPY toasted this $500 account. We can see that right here. These were all stop lossed. All levels 4 through 7 that it opened. Toasted with just one pair, but again, that's why smaller accounts aren't running swing typically. This data is on swing accounts. Now, if you had a $500 account, you would chances be using Sniper or Super Sniper, which means you would have entered later in the trade, but still you would have gotten stopped out. Losses would have been worse. Now, we are adding some cool features that are going to be in GearBox Pro to be able to accommodate some of these things. I'm going to talk about some of these new ideas we're testing and give you guys a visual of some of the things that we're doing. Euro AUD, we can see has not entered any trades. Keep going through here. USD CAD is on a terror run as always, making profit. This account has done phenomenally well. You can ignore all these trades. This is other history from other accounts through time. Let's get... How do I sort back to just USD CAD? Well, it doesn't matter. USD CAD made back some losses probably from a previous account, but I believe this is on FX Book with the proper start time. The point is USD CAD has done a great job on swing. It's been a very profitable pair and very consistent. NZD USD, we got nothing going on here. GBP CAD, we are in some floating profit on this account. We can see on GBP AUD, we're also in a little bit of floating profit. We were in some swings. They finally started to go our way. As always, when these swing, GBP AUD is going to make a lot of money and continue to be our most profitable pair. It isn't the most consistent pair, but GBP AUD is by far one of those pairs that when it does hit, it most of the time can make you some money. You might hit some stop losses every once in a while, but in this case, this account was on the right side of it. It is a pair that I know some people hit some stop losses on that maybe got in at the wrong times, the wrong entries. That can happen. Every account's a little bit different in how it operates with the EA. But with that being said, let's keep moving on. GBP CAD we saw is in some floating going in here. GBP JPY. This account is still intact because it runs GBP settings, even though it is JPY. What does that tell you? Maybe JPY pairs should run on GBP settings, and they'll never take a trade. GBP NZD, we are up 11% on the week. These trades swung that we were in, and we made ourselves some money here. So 11% on this $500 account running GBP NZD. GBP USD, we are currently in floating profit, 0.7% on a trade as well on the data account here. So we are running. It is moving its way up here on a buy, and looks like a great take profit. And you know, personally, I'd buy that. Let's keep going through here. AUD CAD on the week, we are up 0.48%. Now keep in mind, all these data accounts did run through everything. The Ukraine war, they ran through all the crazy market conditions. Some accounts get toasted, some live. That's the point of risk management. If you're running a larger normal account following developer settings, you won't ever have a toasted account like the data accounts. The data accounts are designed to occasionally get toasted so that we can continue to optimize them and the product better towards different currency pairs. Here we are in Euro NZD, and Euro NZD as well. Floating profit and swinging. This account has hit some stop losses every once in a while, but has been pretty consistent. In fact, I'll tell you, Euro NZD, I'll show you an account that railed some stop losses on it and made them back and did very well as well on one of my $1 million demos we're running. Okay. Ignore that. Is that the end of us? That is the end of those data accounts. So let's take a look at some of the $1 million accounts, and then I'm going to read the comments. First thing is, this is an account that I also have connected to FXbook, and I'm going to show you. But I want to show you, this account took 5 stop losses. It was doing really good, and then it lost a bunch of money. Ready? So check this out. We were crushing it, and then $16,000 stop loss, $19,000 stop loss, $22,000 stop loss, $25,000 stop loss, $30,000 stop loss. Railed. Account was very down, right? And this is at 0.01 per 2K. Still, on the larger the balance, the more conservative you should always be on the lot size, in my opinion. So this is still a little pushing it, but regardless, it did very well. It railed those 5 stop losses and made every single dollar back. And now is in profit, $95,000, and this is in a 3-month time span. So GearBox is designed to be able to take these stop losses here and there. This stuff is going to happen. It's all about the strategies, profitability long term, and did it ever blow account? No, it didn't. It simply takes some losing trades every once in a while when crazy market conditions happen, and that is inevitable. Could you have sat out during those conditions? Absolutely. Could you trade during them? Absolutely. On a historical scale, is GearBox going to end every year on a very positive note? Absolutely. So you just got to be able to understand that losses are inevitable, but we are adding a lot of cool features. So let's talk about some of the features we're adding. And I'm going to read the comments. Ghost trades, you don't see an MT4 up because it's not a real trade, right? Just want to make sure I'm near trading. I don't see my ghost trades. The easiest way you can see if you are in trades is if you come over here and you look at your ghost gears on each currency pair, you'll see what ghost gear you're in. That's the easiest place to see your ghost gears. One should always say -1. Sometimes it might not say -1. It might have both have a positive number. But most of the time, you'll see one with -1 and one that's positive. And that's your ghost gears. Now, let's talk about some of the things that we're working on. These might fly over some people's heads. Also, if you haven't had a chance to play with the risk calculator or use this, I'm going to make sure we drop this in the chat so you guys can get access. Make a copy. Please don't edit it. I'm actually going to make you guys a different one with no editing. File, make a copy, shareable. And I'm going to show you guys how to use this tool, as it's a very important tool to revisit during times of risk and war, because you can decrease your risk, and it's good to always understand your risk. Perfect. Every one of you is a viewer. Let's go ahead and drop it in the chat. All right. So let me. Also, by the way, if you guys don't know how to increase your quality, make sure you go ahead here and increase your quality. Make sure you're watching in 1080p. It's always going to resort to a lower speed. You just got to come down here and raise your quality, just like you're on YouTube, just like you're doing anything else you're typically doing in life. Just come down here and increase your quality. Make sure you got this in high definition. Alright, so we're going to take a look at this calculator, right? So you can choose your starting lot size based on, if you're using a 10K account or higher, you use this calculator side. If you're using less than 10K, you're using this side over here because the lot size calculates differently. So let's just say, for example, 0.01. And we'll make the starting lot on $1,000, 0.01. Now this is based on one currency pair. Let's say you're entering on an average gear entry of 4. You can see that you're going to be needing to look over here. This actually doesn't take a lot size smaller than 0.10. So coming over here with a 0.01, you'll see your drawdown. Alright, what does it take to get into 28% drawdown? Well, there's going to be 5 trades open. And that's what will happen on a small account. Now, if you look at a larger account with the same lot size, it's only in 15% drawdown. So your risk is inherently higher when you're using a smaller account because of the way the lot size goes. Example, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. Meanwhile, over here, your lot size goes 0.10, 0.12, 0.13, 0.15, 0.17, 0.20, and adjusts just like this. So your risk is going to be entirely different based on these items. So you're going to want to use this calculator to understand your risk. And this is based per currency pair. So if you want to understand, you know, if 3 currency pairs, let's say you're using max 3 pairs, and they go against you, you'll be able to see, okay, it would take these pairs, each going 601 pips with no retracement, after I already entered 600 total pips. It entered after 139 here. So 140. So after it's gone against me that far, you would have experienced if 3 pairs did that same thing to you, 45%, which is high. So again, you're not going to run all these pairs that are that volatile in a situation that puts you in that predicament. But the point is to understand your risk. So you can use this calculator, adjust your risk, lower your lot size, determine really what your risk is based on how many pairs you're allowing to trade at once, based on your starting lot size and your balance. The only thing this calculator will not account for is stop losses at 500 pips and balance protection at 25% DD. So what I mean by that is at 25% DD, balance protection will not allow you to take any new trades unless you change that setting. I leave that setting intact because I call it chill out mode. Markets are volatile, something crazy happens, just let it chill out. The markets will swing, you'll get out of those trades. But again, you need to multiply DD times max pairs for accuracy here. Now, let's talk about what's coming. So, there's a few things we've worked on and added on into this list. So we're going to talk about, this is like our 2022 plan list. This is going to be later in priority. I'm going to actually order with you guys kind of priority right now. This is probably like 4. Real-time correlation filters. Probably like 5. Trailing stop losses is above this like 2. I'd say 3. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we gotta split this to 5. This to 6. So that we can increase and insert here into 4. Alright, we're going to talk about this, and then from there, I'd say 7, 8, 9. These are the order and things we're going to work on. This will be 10. That'll be Manager Pro. We took a look at these. Got another one that we're looking at right now, so we'll delete that. Okay, so let's talk about these items and the order in which top priority. So you see number one, a more aggressive hedging engine that can be turned on and off. So this kind of ties in also with number two. This is something we want to do for all Gearbox, and this is something we want to do for GearBox Pro. And these are great risk management features. So what I mean by we want to create trailing stop losses above level 0 and 1, you'll probably notice that when you're in a Gearbox trade, if you're entering in any of the precision modes, you probably have never seen a trailing stop loss. If you've used intraday, you've seen it. What a trailing stop loss is going to do is, as soon as these trades are locked in profit, instead of setting a take profit, it's going to start to trail the profit. There's an upside and a downside to this. The upside is there's times where it's going to secure you a ton more profit. The downside is there's times where it's going to take you out of the trade early, and that trade could have swung all the way and made you a lot more money, but you got stopped out on a little movement retracement back. Because a trailing stop will basically be like a profit lock. So the best example I can give you right now is we're looking at Euro NZD here, and we're in these cells. All right, and if I actually analyze this on a smaller time frame, let's open another one so I can show you. Taking a look at this on a smaller time frame, you can see our take profits here. All right, we finally dropped. What a trailing would do is it would probably have already started to put a trailing stop loss here. So if this retraces back up, it would take you out of the trade right there rather than letting you go into more drawdown. But it wouldn't do that in this scenario yet because we're not in profit, right? But you get what I'm saying. If we were already in profit on this specific trade sequence right before the TP, it would add that. Then it would remove the TP, and let's say this thing blows through this take profit. In that scenario, had you not got taken out, I think the best spot to put a trailing stop loss to avoid this situation, to be honest with you, is to add a, we want to do it in a very custom way, because this is the thing I want to avoid, is you getting stopped out, is that the trailing stop loss would deploy 20 pips before take profit, only if the trade was in profit. So we want to work on this. It's an advanced feature we want to add for all gearboxes. To add some kind of trailing. So right before take profit, it would add a trailing. This would also be a better risk management feature, and the reason I say that is sometimes you might see you're in a trade, and let's see if I can show an example of this. No examples right now, but I can show it based on what happened here. So look at these. This is some trades that closed right here, USD CHF, USD CAD, NZD CAD. These all closed and made a profit. Now, these were hedges against the open trades right here. But those trades hit TP. Now, if we were trailing them, these trades could have still been running right now, balancing out this drawdown and making us profit. Without technically getting into high drawdown, meaning this would be an extra feature to boost profits in normal amounts of drawdown, but keep the drawdown lower, keep your equity higher, and make more profit. So something we want to do. The next thing is a very advanced feature for a last-minute risk management setting. And what I mean by a last-minute risk management setting is going to be this more aggressive hedging engine. So this, what I was just talking about, was trailing stop losses above level 0 and 1. A more aggressive hedging engine, this is a GearBox Pro feature. Let me take us over to something very complex, and it's going to confuse some of you. So this is the updated manager chart. This is going to be for GearBox Pro, so let's label that. We are increased max gears on all the pairs. All of them were at 8, which some of these aren't even entering till 8 anymore. With their moved up entries, like EuroCAD and Super Sniper doesn't even enter until gear 7, which would be 8 max gears because 0 is 1. So when you take a look at that, understanding that we needed to increase the max gears because there were situations where, say you entered a trade here in gear 6 and you could only enter 7, these both hit stop loss, now you're out money, but you didn't enter 8, 9, or 10 as a recovery, which would have made you a lot more money back. So we're increasing max gears in all the pairs, as well as increasing the entries on many of the pairs because the market conditions call for this. Same with GBP, we bumped them up by +1 from 12 to 13. So now gear 12 is the max you can enter. But this is the hedge. So you see this blue turquoise So what are ideas and what we're going to test? Again, this isn't going to be released like this. We still have to test it. We're adding it into a version that I'm going to be testing heavily with US 30 as my test subject, since it moves a lot. And maybe even some of the other indices that move a lot, such as DAX or NAS 100. We'll play with all of those with this testing to test this new hedge feature idea that I'm creating for normal Forex pairs. But what's going to happen is, let's say you enter AUD, NZD, and you're on gear. You enter on gear 2 on swing, and you're in 2, 3, 4, and 5. When gear 6 goes to deploy, open a hedge trade with the same amount of lots that is already open on the previous gears, but use a 50 pip stop loss and a trailing profit. So the reason for this is it would be a last, we would have a high profit lock because we want to use it as a preventative, right? And essentially we can add to that trade with every new gear that hits to accommodate the lots that are opening. So as this, let's say you were in buys and it keeps falling, okay, now you're in a sell. It keeps falling. It'll keep making sure that this hedge trade is open or a new one is open. So let's say, for example, this one gets stopped out, gear 6, because it falls right before gear 7. It retraces and it, for some reason, took it out. But then it falls more and hits gear 7, a new one would open. And it would keep the amount of lots open as these higher gears enter to protect you, secure profit, and mitigate risk if something heavily trends massively against us. The downside to this is there is risk if it gets stopped out or you get wicked out after one enters. That can be, a loss in itself that mitigates all the profit that sequence may have possibly been able to make in the first place, even when it swings. So these are things that'll be for GearBox Pro. We won't be giving this advanced hedge feature to normal users. The normal user hedge feature that we're looking to open up is going to be more with the trailing stop losses being implemented right before take profits to really allow, the software to do what it already does best and also be able to secure and mitigate risk better and capitalize more on these swings that GearBox does get into. So those are some things being heavily worked on our priority list. Keep going through. Max level closeout. This is a risk management feature for GearBox Pro too. Let's just say let's go back to our beautiful chart here. Let's say you enter on gear 2 and you say, you know what, if I get to gear 6, close out all the trades. Or maybe you say, if I get to gear 4, you enter in gear 2 and you say, if it even gets to gear 4, just close that sequence. So this would be max level closeout. So instead of an equity protector on your whole account, you'll be able to customize a specific currency pair level closeout where if you say, hey, I don't even want this risk, just close out these trades, you'll be able to do that based on the gear entries. This is something already done that is being tested. You'll see here resetting range and range multiplier in first real trade entry. This is actually going to be one of my favorite ones for super sniper modes. The reason I say that is, let's say you enter a trade on gear 6 on super sniper on CHFJPY. All right. Looking at that, if you go to gear 6, that's 303 pips into the trade where you're taking your first entry. To get to gear 7, you'd need to wait another 130 pips. All right, well, what resetting range multiplier will do in resetting range is you'll enter here, but instead of waiting another 100, it'll do it in 21 pips. Then it'll take your next entry again at 49 pips, 88 pips added to this, right? So instead of having to wait 130 pips, now at 333 pips, you're going to take your next trade. You'll take 7. The reason this is cool for super sniper modes is it allows you to stack a few trades in right around a reversal key area, and you won't need a big take profit because you have so many trades stacked in a very small movement in the market. So it could create a high profitability for people to stack trades at these key reversal areas instead of just getting one little trade in there, getting a few trades in there and running it. And again, that's a GearBox Pro feature. It's going to be for more advanced users, but something I'm very excited to play with myself is that feature. Then going to priority number 5, Large account multiplier. We talked about this a little bit by using this wonderful calculator here. You'll see that, hold on, let me make this reasonable. Okay, so we go 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. Here we go 0.10, 0.12, 0.13. A large account multiplier would basically duplicate what a $1,000 account goes through. It increases more risk, but it also helps you get out of trade sooner as well, because you don't need as much of a pullback, but it would go 0.10, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, so increment by starting lot size basically setting, known as our large account multiplier. You're never going to use it if you have a small account, but something people with larger money and risk that understand the markets can deploy, so that'll also be a GearBox Pro feature. 6, working on creating a real-time correlation filter. As you know, every 2 or so weeks we update the correlation data here on all the currency pairs for GearBox. We want to make that real-time. You'll see max-based currency filter, so this is a good one. Allow one max-based currency pairs max. So let's say Euro USD is open, it would block Euro JPY, Euro AUD, or Euro NZD. If you made it 3, this example would make sense. Same here. Example, allow 3 quote currency pairs max. CHF JPY, USD, and Euro JPY are open. Don't allow AUD JPY to open. Or you can limit this to 1, which is what most people are going to do. That way you avoid, this is like another level of correlation filter. To protect as well against large trending moves, because some things aren't correlated until they are correlated. So this is another thing to help prevent and filter out, risk management for volatility. I'm gonna come take a look back at the chat. So these are a lot of the things being worked on, and we've deployed, we've reactivated our original beta test group that had helped beta test many of the versions of GearBox that we went through early on. And we're going to be testing and enhancing all these new features with GearBox Pro and GearBox Manager Pro, as well as enhancing the current version of GearBox. And keep in mind, GearBox Pro and Manager Pro, when they come out, will be available for free to all customers, no extra charges. They'll just be on your VPS for those people that want to use them. But with that being said, let's take a look at the week ahead and see how the news is going to look and what's going on. We knew today was NFP as always, but let's go ahead and take a look at the next upcoming week. So taking a look at May 8th through the 11th and 13th, we're very calm. You see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yellow folder. Wednesday we get into some red folder with OPEC meetings. OPEC does affect all of the currency pairs as you see here, so it's a big meeting. But other than that, core CPI and PPI, it's a very calm week. Very, very, very calm week it's looking like in terms of news. So unless anything very unexpected happens, I would tell you that you have a very calm week ahead and nothing to be worried about. Hopefully that we see many of these pairs start swinging in our direction that are overextended. As always, time and time again, GearBox pulls through and does what it does best. But before we go, I do just want to reference this FFX book on a live account that is being run. You can see that this account did almost 8% in April on a live large account. This is $832,000 account being ran. This is the FX book on it. Currently it's in about 10% drawdown, not a problem. That's our strategy. It's also sticking to about 0.01 per 2K. And you can go even more conservative than that if you so choose. We might even go a little more conservative than that and go to 0.01 per 3 to 5K, knowing the results of what happens and the fact it still is always going to be consistent and make money just with a better equity curve. So, depending on how much capital you're playing with, of course, your lot sizing should always change. If you're a conservative user, 0.01 per 3 to 5K is always the best way to go on larger capital and even capital close to 10K and up. But with that being said, thank you all so much for spending your Friday here with me, and look forward to another amazing trading week. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits, or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.